So here we are, we're finally in Nice. I am extremely, I lost my voice. It's the next day. Everything is going to be discombobulated in terms of like continuity. I am working on the continuity though. So as you can see, we faded to black because when we boarded the plane, and I was so puffy because I couldn't sleep all night, anyway, when we boarded the plane, we encountered difficulties. We were so happy we started filming, we wanted to do a vlog in the plane and you saw bits and parts of it. But then these French guys that are sitting in front of us, they're from Nice, turns out. They just like turn around and start shouting at us, well, particularly at me, to shut up, to stop talking. How dare I talk? I'm obnoxiously loud and talking. And then another woman that's sitting next to them, that later on we figured out looked like Katy Perry's grandmother, turns around and says, and by the way, what you're saying is so boring and obnoxious. It's like, I know that certain topics can be to not everybody's liking, and I know you could say a lot about me, but girl, really, you wanna give me the ignorant card? So anyway, that crazy woman aside, those two testosterone-driven cretins in front of me started yelling and coming like this close to me, and this guy like sunglasses on, macho all the way through, and then starts yelling in French on top of that. And I'm like, I don't speak your language. You want me to shut up? Say it in English and be polite. And by the way, tell your friend who's sitting next to you to lift the chair, because he's totally blocking like my other friend sitting next to me who's like really tall and is squished like a sardine because we're sitting in the last row of this freaking plane and you're blocking his circulation. So you pull up the chair, be polite, and then we could reconsider our tone of voice, or talking or not talking. But how dare you forbid me to speak? In what country are you? You know what I mean? Like, where are you? There is such thing as freedom of speech. We are in a free country, thank God. Still, we are in a free country where you are allowed to talk. And I really felt violated in such an extreme way. So Nina was so sweet. She was like petting me like, oh, it's all gonna be okay. I was like, no, it's not all gonna be okay. I'm gonna go now to the stewardesses and the stewards, and I'm gonna talk to them about this. In hindsight, I think to myself, like, now that I've, slept on it and I woke up the next day, and it was really bothering me the whole night. Because I thought to myself, God damn it, he did manage to shut me up for a second. Because he planted the seed of doubt in me, because I started thinking, wait a minute, did I do something wrong? But no, I did not do anything wrong. I was being so happy. He was being miserable because he was probably in some party city the night before and had to fly back to Nice to go back to his crappy job, and was just not having it to have to fly, on a Sunday, and his vacation was over. I'm not here for vacation. I'm here to work, but I'm trying to make the best out of work, So let's not like say, oh, Dacob, you're so spoiled, you're on vacation, so like poor guy has to go to work. No, I'm here to work 12 to 15 hours a day to sell the movie, and still I try my best to be in a good mood, to be in a positive mood, to enlighten it for everybody, like my whole team. We're trying to just have a grand time. Bitter Betties in front of us weren't having it. So they turn around and want to mock the gay kid. And they did drop some, the faggot bomb on me in French. But I ain't that stupid. I understand enough of French to know when you are belittling somebody, when you are mocking somebody, when you are cursing somebody off. So I go to the stewardesses and the stewards and I say like, hey guys, I feel very threatened by this guy who's sitting in front of me. He just warned me to shut up, called me names, and I just can't sit next to him. And then they were so sweet. They were like, they said something, I don't understand it. Like they looked at each other, the stewardess and the steward, and they're like, should we initiate protocol, something. And I was like, oh, this is getting very Star Wars. It's like, I was like, yeah, initiate whatever you need to initiate, but just get me out of here. I don't want to have to deal with this person, with this individual. And like, may I remind you that within Europe, it is actually illegal to call people names and to call them out also for their sexual orientation. If you do so, that's punishable by law. And they're like, yes, we know that. So they found us another place to sit, and then things started to turn around. Now, I moved with Patrick to another place. Nina was still sitting in the last row, but away from them. She wasn't behind them. And this is where, so I moved to a place where there was this third person in the same line, in the same row as Patrick and me. And he was napping, so, but he woke up when he saw us coming. I was like, sorry to wake you up, but it's just, there's been a little bit of a complication. I hope you don't mind that we now sit, next to you. And he was so sweet. He's like, oh, I don't mind at all. I wasn't really sleeping. I was just resting a little bit because I was, partying last, same issue. Like it's Sunday, I'm flying back to Nice. I'm going back to work. And I was like, but your accent isn't French. Are you Italian? He's like, no, I'm Greek. And I was like, oh, okay, so you live in Nice, and how's that? And he was so lovely. You see, everything happens for a reason, in a way, because I believe in the holistic truth of the universe. So we moved to this new place where there was this other person who opened up so wonderfully to me and gave me the best tips of where to go in Nice, in Cannes, and in Monaco. So, and in Antibes. So we're going to definitely check out those places, including one pizzeria in Monaco that is open until 5 to 6 a.m. Nothing else is. So that's great because we're going to be working night shifts as well. And then I asked him, but how is it for you to be in Nice? He's like, it's actually really great. It reminds me a little bit of Greece in terms of the weather, but I can't stand the people. And I was like, oh, how interesting. But, well, let me tell you a story. The reason why we moved here right now is because of the people from Nice that were obnoxiously rude to me just a couple of minutes prior. He's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that. And then he's like, tell me the story. I told him the story. And then he said, this is typical. Don't even get upset about it. I was like, of course I'm going to get upset about it. Just because they're freaking idiots doesn't mean that I have to suffer under that torture. And by the way, we're in the middle of the sky somewhere. We're not in their territory. We're not in their country yet. They have absolutely no power here. They cannot be yelling at me in French and presuming so arrogantly that I'm supposed to know their language, that I should shut the F up. No, you're not gonna shut this bitch up. And furthermore, what is hilarious, the woman the Katy Perry's grandma, who was seated next to the two macho, testosterone, ignorant, oh God, I could just go on for days. Anyway, when we landed, she stands up, and I see her, and she's kind of trying to get her luggage, whatever she had in the upper bin compartment, whatever you call that thing. Mr. Stoopman, help us out with cabin language, please. And then there was this other guy who was sitting in another row, but they were together. So they were traveling together. And she was so miserable. She got something wrong. They were coordinating something. They were there for business too. And he kind of started yelling at her. I told you this another 50 times and you just can't get anything right, And she was like a little freaking hamster after he mistreated her. And I was like, oh, okay, girl. Now a lot of you are going to be thinking, oh, she had a bad day. Yeah, bitch had a bad day. I had a bad day too. But you don't see me spitting on other people because I had a bad day. I keep it to myself. I solve my issues on my own. I don't cut through borders and offend you because I had a bad day. What planet are we living on? And furthermore, I was an easy target. Again, I'm the colorful one wearing the Vivienne Westwood mountain hat, obviously gay in many ways, so people just see you as a minority target. And this has to freaking stop. The bullying has to stop. I've had it with it. When we finally landed, as I already said, we landed, the stewardesses came to me and said, since those two guys literally collapsed and fainted throughout the entire trip, did not say moo after the entire incident, we did not warn them again because we wanted to keep the peace in the plane. And I was like, yeah, I totally get it. But then they told me, but just to let you know, had you really pushed it and wanted us to, we would have called the police, and the police would have been waiting for them upon arrival, and they would have investigated them. And then I said, well, Yeah, but that would have blocked also my trip, because then I would have had to testify. I would have lost another 4 hours. Yes, for the sake of justice and to teach them a lesson, okay. But guess what? At the end of the day, I don't want to take it upon myself to have to teach these idiots a lesson. I think life has been cruel enough to them as is. Just the way they were behaving, the way... And I'm going to say something that a lot of you are going to deem maybe morally not correct or judgmental of me, but the way they were dressed. And now, I don't judge the way people are dressed, but if I don't know them, if you give me a behavioral trait, if you behave in a certain way, and you show me how you are built from the inside out, then I add on top of that what you are wearing. It all clicks together, and I get a broader picture of who you are. What really told me about these guys, everything, like from the way the hair was cut, from the way they wore the sunglasses in an airplane where there's like no light, the jacket, the t-shirt, and then that voice and that attitude, like all together really combined was nitroglycerin in the worst way possible imaginable. And then of course I was an easy target. So this video should serve you guys as, I would like to say, as a reinforcement, as strengthening, because we've all been through this. I've been through bullying since I was a kid, and it just keeps happening every day. It's an odyssey to survive through the day, really. But what I want to say is, thanks to the YouTube community, I grew stronger, because I have a place now where I could vent this frustration. What happened to me? You are literally like my, my Freud. You are my psychoanalyst many times, because I actually, look at that, I'm on a couch, I'm on a sofa. This is very Freud right now, because I get a chance to talk to you, and you have to share these emotions, these stories with one another, because when you share them, you diminish their power. They are less powerful. They hurt you less. And that is important. It is important for us to grow out of that pain that other people have perpetrated upon us, have inflicted upon us, is the right word, is the right terminology here. And when we get to share these negative stories, it's like, I hope I'm getting the word right, expiating it. It's like letting go of it. It's like freeing yourself of it. Now, in hindsight, I'm thinking to myself, when a situation goes through your head another 1,000 times and you're thinking, I should have said that. But I could have done that. Everything happens for a reason. What happened had to happen, right? Right. But what still gets me now, one day later, is the fact that he did for a split second manage to shut me up. And that is something I should not have let happen. So I'm thinking to myself, more like what you learn in self-defense class. Just look at him straight in the face, say, no, 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 you will not shut me up. You will not shut me up. And, I have theater in my background, performance in my background. I have resistance and endurance. I could have, for the entire flight, however long it was, hour, 2 hours, I can't remember. I could have, because I can be that bitch, I could have just kept repeating, I will not shut up, I will not shut up, I will not shut up, you can't shut me up, you will not shut me up, you will not shut me up. And I could have just done it in a loop, obnoxiously, like those babies that are on airplanes that start screaming and crying and never stop until the airplane lands. You've all been there, I know you have. I could have done something like that, but I didn't. Now I think it would have been cool had I done it, but I didn't do it. But you know what I mean? But it's cool to tell you the story. So maybe it's also a good exercise for me to remember. I hope this never happens again, but in case it does, I might just do that little tactic of a 1 to 2 hour performance of repeating, you will not shut me up, you will not shut me up, you will not shut me up. Because I don't want to let you shut me up. You do not have that power over me. There you have it, guys. May this little video be a beacon of light and encouragement to all of you. Do not let them shut you up, no matter what happens. And no matter what happens and how strong and powerful the pain is other people inflict upon us, we still never give up on love. Love you guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Oh, before I say bye-bye completely, don't forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, where have you. Love you all. Take care. Bye. Mwah.
And we're off to the film festival.
You have coffee before that?
Oh my god, okay, there you can see they're all in here. Really? Are we filming everything? Okay, we're filming. Hi!
All right.
We're off to the film festival.